I'm Megan Vick, and today we're going to be solving word problems involving addition and subtraction of intervals in minutes by representing the problem on a number line. Before we begin, we must know how to tell time. Time is measured in hours and minutes. We have the hour hand, which indicates the hour on the clock, and it is the shortest hand. Then we have the minute hand, which is the longest hand on the clock, and it represents the minutes within the hour. The hour hand will be pointed at or a little bit after a number to represent the hour, and we count the minutes on the clock by fives by starting at the top of the 12 on the clock. When we talk about time, we clarify if we mean morning or night by using the letters AM or PM. AM is in the morning before noon, and PM is in the afternoon or night afternoon. For example, at 8 AM, you're probably getting ready to go to school in the morning, and at 8 PM, you're probably at home with your family and maybe getting ready for bed. For the next examples I will be demonstrating, students will receive the following manipulatives. They will receive a paper clock in which they can construct themselves, and it will have an hour hand and a minute hand, as well as one of these which will be turned into a number line, and it is dry erase. Students will be following along with me as I do the problems and putting the time on their own clocks and making their own number lines on their reusable numbers. Students should be using their manipulatives to solve these problems with me. For number one, we have 5 o'clock. So we know that the hour hand, which is the smaller hand, is going to go straight to the 5. And we look at minutes now. We have 0 minutes, so 0 represents the 12 because we start 0 and go to 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. And if we have 0, we're stuck right at the top. So this is going to be the minute hour, which is the longest hand. Now we move on to number 2. We have 2:50. So once again, we'll start with the hour, which is 2, and that's going to be the shortest hand. And we're going to put it right here on the 2, the shorthand. And now we look at the minutes right here, which we have 50 now. So what we're going to do is start at 12 and count by 5s until we reach 50, and that's where we know where our minute hand goes. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And this matches what we have the minutes 50, so we put the long hand, which is the minute hand, right here. And now we'll move on to number 3. This time we have to figure out what the time is on the clock that's already represented and the lines are already put there for us. So we look at the hour hand once again, which you know is a shorthand. We always start with the shorthand first. And that is once again, we see it on the 12. So we already know that our answer is going to start with 12, so we'll put that right on the paper right now. Now we have to look at the minutes again, and we're going to start at the 12 and count by 5s once again until we see the long hand hit one of the numbers. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We see the long hand goes all the way down to the 6, which is represented by the minute of 30. So we know that our time is 12:30. And that's it. And we have one more. And then once again, we're going to find what the time is represented already on the clock. So we're going to look at the hour. And the hour looks like it's pointed towards the 2. So I'm going to say we're going to put the 2 for the hour. And once again, we're going to count by 5s until we reach where the long hand's at. So we'll start at 0, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So we know our minutes are 50, so we have 250, which also matches our top one up here. Now we're going to show the time that Riley got done eating at on the clock. So we know the time was 5:50 is when she got done eating, so we're going to start with the hour hand, which is the 5, and that's the shortest hand, so we're going to put the shortest hand right here on the 5 to show the hour. And now we have the 50, so we're going to count all the way from 0 by 5s all the way until we reach 50 on the clock, and that's where we'll put the longest hand, which is the minute hand. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So we'll put our long hand here, the minute hand, and that's how it should look on our clock. So now we're going to go down to the next word problem right here. And it says, Leo's soccer game ended at 6 p.m. The game was 1 hour and 25 minutes long. When did it begin? So we know that Leo's soccer game ended at 6 p.m., but we don't have a starting point like we did for the other problem. So we're going to start right here with 6 p.m. right here. At the very end, we're going to work our way backwards because we know that we have the later time and we need the starting time, unlike the other problem. So from here, we know that 6 to 5 is 1 hour. So we can label 5 right here. And we know that it says 1 hour and 25 minutes, so we can jump right from 6 to 5 because we know that's 1 hour. So we have the hour already figured out. And we can label that 1 hour. So now we're at 5 o'clock, and now we can go by 5s again if we want to figure out the minutes for the word problem. So going backwards from 5 o'clock, we have 4:55, 4:50, 4:45, 4:40, 4:35, and 4:30. So now that we already have the hour figured out, because it's 1 hour and 25 minutes from 6 p.m., we have to figure out the 25 minutes now. So we're at 5 already. So we're going to count by 5 since we're in intervals of 5 now. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So now we've reached the 25-minute time, and we've landed right here on 4:35. So we're going to check our answer again, and we're going to make sure that we got the right answer. So once again, we have 6 p.m. started here, and we go backwards because we have the ending time instead of the beginning time. We're going to jump an hour to 5, so we know that we already have for the hour, the 1 hour here. And now we're going to keep going until we reach the 25 minutes again. So we'll count again and make sure. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And once again, we've landed on 4:35. So on our clock, we're going to put the small hand on the 4. And we're going to now do our minutes, 35. We're going to count by 5s again. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And we're going to bring our minute hands all the way down to the 7. And that's our answer for that one, and we can fill the answer right here. Leo's soccer game began at, and we know the answer is 4:35. And we know it's PM because it happened at night, so we'll add the PM. And that's the answer for that one. Now that we're experts at telling time, we're going to solve some time-related word problems. There's a tool we can use to help us solve these types of problems, and it's called a number line. A number line is a drawing where numbers are written from smallest to largest and can be used to solve math problems. Let's look at this example. Riley begins eating at 5:25 p.m. She finished eating 25 minutes later. At what time did Riley finish eating? For this problem, we know our starting time on our line is going to be 5:25 because we know that Riley finished eating 25 minutes after this time. So we'll put 5:25 on a number line to begin. And next we're going to go in intervals of 5 because 25 minutes is not that far of a time away from 5:25. So we'll keep going in intervals of 5 throughout our whole line. Now that we have our numbers on our number line, we can begin the problem. So what we need to do is start at 5:25 and count off in 5s until we reach 25 in all and see where we land on the number line. So from 5:25 to 5:30, we'll go start the 5. Then from 5:30 to 5:35, another 5, which is 10. And then 15, 20, and finally 25. And we label a 5 on each top of our jump so we know that to add all this up in the end to find if we got the correct answer. So let's add up all these 5s and make sure that we reach 25. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And we landed at 5:50. So we made sure our answer is right because it says 25 minutes after this time, and we made sure that it was 25 after, and that's what we landed on. So for our answer for our sentence, it says Riley finished eating at, and we know the answer is 5:50. And now we need to distinguish if this is AM or PM, and we just look at the time that they listed above, and it says PM, so we'll also put PM. Riley finished eating at 5:50. I have one problem left, and it starts out with, Kate went to the carnival at 6:30 p.m. She left the carnival at 8:35 p.m. How long did Kate spend at the carnival? So what we do know is we know that our starting point is going to be 6:30, and the ending point is 8:35. So now we have the starting point and the end point, but we don't have how much time she spent at the carnival. That's what we're going to be figuring out. So we're going to put our starting time here at the very first tick mark on our number line, 6:30. And what we could do next is keep doing what we've been doing by going by fives for most of the problems, but if we did go by fives, we need a lot of tick marks and it would take a lot of extra time. So we can do what we did up here with doing jumping an hour instead of 5 for each single interval. So we know that 6:30 to 7:30 is 1 hour, and it still is not reaching our time of 8:35. So that means we can do the jump. So 6:30 to 7:30 is an hour. So we're gonna write 7:30, and we're gonna do our jumping from here to here, and write down right here that it's 1 hour, so we know. And now we're still not at 8:30. We're getting closer, but we're not there yet. So we're gonna make a decision. Can we jump from 7:30 to 8:30? And the answer would be yes, because this is 8:35, and 8:35 is more time than 8:30. So we can do one more jump from 7:30 to 8:30, which is 1 hour. And we're going to show our jumping again by going like this and writing an hour, so we know that these are both hours and not 5 minutes or 10 minutes or anything else, so we know how to add it in the end. And now we're at 8:30, so we can go by fives because we're a lot closer to 8:35. So we can fill in our timeline again by 5, 8:35. And I can keep filling this whole thing down, which you can do if you want, but we already know that we see 8:35 as the next tick mark on here, and we know that the ending time for our problem is 8:35. So instead of labeling the whole entire timeline, we're just going to jump from here to here and leave the rest blank because it's all we need for the problem. So we're going to go from here to here. And this is not an hour jump. We're only jumping 8:30 to 8:35, which is 5 minutes. So we're going to write 5 minutes up here so we know how to add it in the end once again. So now we figured out the time. We know that Kate went to the carnival at 6:30, and we found the time in between to 8:35. So now we have all the times here. We just need to add them up, and then we'll find our answer for the problem. So we have 1 hour plus 1 hour, and so we basically just do 1 plus 1 for the hours, and that's 2. So this 2 is going to be for your hours, and the only minutes we have is 5. So since it's just 5 minutes, we know that we can just say 2 hours and 5 minutes. And so now when we go down to our answer to our problem right here, our sentence, we can say Kate spent, and now we have our answer of 2 hours and 5 minutes. So Kate spent 2 hours and 5 minutes